Hello there, it's Gabe here, and I've been working on a game that I thought was pretty interesting, but there's some flaws about it, the original game, that I didn't really like, kind of. So the game I based it off of was Diep.io, but the problem with the game itself was that it was all multiplayer, it was all PvP, and it all felt like a free-for-all. There was no structure designed to the levels themselves, and I kind of didn't like that. I'm more of a co-op type of person myself. Whenever I play online, I don't really like running around and shooting each other necessarily. So I thought it would be cool to just take those same basic mechanics and then reapply them with the fundamentals of co-op in mind, right? So if we come in and we look at it, just look at the game, and this is basic analyzing that I did whenever I started first developing. I just came in here and I played with things, right? So I see here there's resources, you have EXP, and then you have little level up things, which I thought the level up part here was neat. Every time you level up, you get points, and then you can use those points to boost up your ship however you want to, right? And also you have other ships according to what level you are that you can grow into, and so on and so forth. And I thought all of that was neat. I thought it was amazing, actually, and well put together, and just felt really coherent, especially compared to most of the other .io games, I guess you should say. All the other ones were real free-for-alls, and sometimes felt like they were just thrown together completely, and I didn't really like that. I kind of wanted more structure with the game, so I figured I should put it together myself and build more structure. So without further ado, I give you my remake. So I started off with the fundamentals, right? You're not fighting anyone, it's just your character. You're running around, you can shoot resources, and then level up your stats accordingly, right? So I did my best to just imitate that exact game. I'd say I got pretty dang close to it. Camera movement's off right now, but there is camera movement, as you can see, and then there's your stats whenever you level up. And then I can upgrade, say for instance, my movement speed, and then instantly my movement speed is up a little bit. It just keeps on going like that, so on and so forth, right? I thought that was cool, but this still doesn't actually show any of the mechanics in which that I had in mind. So I started doing networking, and I went ahead and set up spawners and things of that nature, and I spawned in my first object. So we can see that by off generating resources and going up on this, right? So this was the first AI character that I created, and he just chases you whenever you're in his seeing range and tries to shoot at you. Very simple, doesn't get easier than this to program. But his stats, what makes the game interesting is his stats are static, and your stats are constantly growing according to how many people you fight. So fighting off one or two of these guys will get easier and easier as the game progresses on. I also intend on your individual character levels and all that stuff to be consistent. So you make a character right now, you can come back to that character. When you die, that's not game over completely. You might even create respawns depending on individual levels and whatnot. So he was neat, but he was very simplistic, and I thought it would be time to implement like some sort of a boss at this point. So that's actually what I did. Just gotta edit some code here. Sorry about the mic. Don't have the best recording software and quality and whatnot, but it's close enough, good enough for now. Right, so go into here. And there we have it. We have a boss now, and he stands there static, right? Excuse me. And after a while, he is going to shoot at you, and he has substantially larger bullets, and they do substantially more damage, as you can probably imagine. I do intend on them being slightly faster than they currently are and whatnot. but he will basically then be a spawner, and he can spawn in a bunch of other smaller objects, and then it's you and your friend's goal to come in here and combat him, right? And so on and so forth. So that is cool. But now for the feature that I spent so much time crunching over to make sure I could get right. So if I go into build and run, and we must give this a second to do its thing. As you've probably already noticed, I am doing networking, and I did use the Unity PhotonNewtwork just because it was the simplest to plug in. I haven't done very many networking games, and I don't know that much specifically about networking to really be able to dive into Unity standard networking myself. That was just too much. Especially for the time being, most of this was just prototyping work. I don't intend on this artwork being the same. That's if I decide to even release it. But here we go. Right? We have our first game. Oh. Screen size is ginormous. Okay, right. So you see that. We have that character there. He is there. He exists. And then he is attached as his own client into the room, and then I can also join him. Join in. And there, I'm also connected in now. Now we are both inside of the game. You can see him on his screen moving around and shooting, and then me on my screen shooting around and moving around and shooting, and I too, he can kill the enemy character just as well as I can. And he dies, and it dies on both. So that's all good, which, believe it or not, getting that to work took a ridiculous amount of effort. Like, getting bullets to work was a headache, and then figuring out how in the world I would get AI to work across the network was kind of complicated, but I think it turned out pretty well. So that's all.